Hello and welcome to Topper Machine. I'm Josh Topper, and to what I call an episode of Fixing My Junk. There's going to be a few videos like this moving forward where I work on pieces of my equipment, where I fix my junk, my worn out junk. And so if you caught last week's video, I made that stainless steel hub with the keyway, and there were just things that I didn't like. For one, I've always thought this machine stroked way too fast. I did it in first gear, and even at first gear, it was just way too fast. So I opened up the belt cover, the belt pulley cover of the motor, and did a little bit of measuring and found I can get a smaller motor pulley. So I'll be able to slow it down a little bit. Not as much as I'd like to, but anything is an improvement over what I had. So let's go over here, take a look. I already took a belt off so I could measure, so there's one missing. But we have a 3-groove sheave right there, and it's just held on with, I think, a set screw on the key. Let's see if there's any more hiding on there. Hopefully that'll come off easy. Looks like it's just that one. So it might come off easy. These, there's 4 belts. That one's already missing a chunk, which is fine. I ordered new belts, so we have 4 brand new belts. They're shorter. I calculated out what I needed for length. And here is the new sheave. So this has got a taper bushing, which is great for putting it on, but we just hold it up there. It is significantly smaller. So that should slow us down some, hopefully enough, to make this a much more reasonable speed in first gear. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this thing up and show you how fast it is in first gear, and then we'll do a comparison at the end when we get this pulley swapped out. All right, well, let's just see how bad this is. That isn't terrible, but in stainless steel, that was way too fast. That really did become a problem, and especially on the long stroke stuff that I do, I just like a slower speed, because as you increase the length of stroke, the speed stays the same of the motor and everything, but the stroke length, as you increase the stroke length, that speeds up that travel rate. So the longer the stroke, the faster it'll go. So this is not terrible for steel right now, but stainless, it was just way too much. So we're gonna go ahead, we'll get that pulley off, swap this out, and get it changed. All right, so as you can see, I don't have a lot of space back in here. We'll just see what I can get at. So here's that belt I took off. And we just got to figure out how to adjust the motor. And I think there's going to be an adjustment down in here. Yeah, I'll have to grab a light and get in there and see what we got. All right, I already made an attempt to film this once and go in here once with a flashlight, and the damn battery went dead. And then I finally found my trouble light, because I never get into this dark stuff much. So that end of the motor is a pivot, and it looks like there's some kind of support on this end, and there's a cover on the back side of the machine on the outside that held on with 6 screws. We'll get that off and see if there's some kind of adjuster bolts or anything in there. But it looks like we should be able to, if there's bolts, loosen them up, pivot that motor up, and reset that, get them belts off that way. And it looks like it'll tension up that belt as well, which I didn't see before, but that belt's been loose. We've had a problem with that one. So I'm hoping I calculated out my belt length right. But that's inside the bowels of the beast. So that's right there is the shift linkage. There's a lever on the front of the machine for the clutch. There's a lever on the far side over there, and then there's the one up next to the belt pulleys over there. So let's lift this motor up, just see what we got. Let's see if we can get them belts off. All right, well, I'm gonna squeeze my fat butt in back here because there is a cover back here. All right, so this is the back side here, and there is a nice cover right here. And it's just screws holding it on, so we'll get that off and we'll see what we got, if we got an adjuster or anything back there. And then we'll know which way we're going here. What's next step? All right, I see some bolts down here, and it looks like, God, I can't tell if they're adjuster bolts or what they are. That one looks like it's just like a set screw, and it is. This one's a bolt threading in. You can get that one out with my fingers. So that's probably keeping it from bouncing. Yeah, and those other ones there's one back there too, are just set screws. So I'm gonna guess that should just lift up, maybe with tightening those screws, or better yet, I'll just try a pry bar and lift that whole motor, see if it goes up. All right, I'm at the back of the machine. I'm gonna try tightening up these adjuster screws and just see if I can lift that motor that way. And what fell? My trouble light? Oh, looks like you're still okay. All right, well that worked. They loosened up the belts. Let's see if I can't walk them off one at a time. Actually, we'll go up this way. Roll that one around. Roll it out to the outer one, and then we'll roll it right off. There. That's one off. All right, so we'll just keep rolling them like that until we get them all off. Actually, I'm going to see if I can't go 2 steps on this one. There, it popped over. Except it didn't like that, so we'll go back and... Oh, no, I did it. There we go. Nope. Gotta walk it off the top first. And one more. So we'll go one groove at a time this time instead of 2 like I did before. I'll do the next one down here. Come on. Without pinching my fingers in the pulley. And I did unhook the power before starting on this because, you know, while I'm working on this with my doors locked, I could walk over and hit the start button while my fingers are in here. So, you know, gotta be safe. You know, lockout, tagout when you're by yourself. All right, those are the belts. I'll go find my Allen wrenches. I'll knock that out and see if we can't slip that pulley off. Before I take that set screw out, I'm gonna come in here and look in the bottom of the grooves and just make sure there isn't another one, and that's it. I may need the puller, but we're gonna take the set screw first and just see. Nope. 5/32. Get down in there. Oh, that's tight. It's probably been on there since 1942 when the machine was built. it goes. You know, and I'm feeling a lot of wear on these pulleys. So this machine has seen some use over the years. I'm going to back this all the way out just to make sure there isn't another set screw underneath, but it looks long enough. There is not. Oh. God damn it. Alright, I'm just going to put money on it that is not going to come off without a puller. It's probably been on there since the 40s. This puller is one that a good friend of mine down in Arkansas gave me. I was working on, when I did all the work with locomotives back in the day, before I called it quits on that crap because of the government. He gave me this puller for doing EMD water pumps. And this has been a great asset. So I got to spin this rod out quite a ways. I got a little ways to go here. But I think this is going to be the ticket, yeah. I'm going to be able to get right on the back side of that pulley, so. All right, got my puller on there, got my handy dandy crescent wrench that so many people take offense to me using. And let's see if we can't get this pulley off of here. I think it's actually going already. You know what? We're just going to do it this way. And if I wanted to be fun about it, I could just turn the machine on. Yeah, that's coming right off. Now, when I looked into doing this, I did a lot of measuring, made sure I got the right size bushing for the new pulley. That's an 1 5/8" shaft on there. And this should go really well. Granted, I got my belt measurements right. Oh, puller slipped off there. Tighten that back down. So this ring here locks the puller so it can't come off, which is a really nice feature. This is a snap-on puller that Willie gave me. So, and by the way, Willie, if you're watching, thank you again. This was an amazing puller. It's been very helpful. And now that I'm not working on EMDs anymore, no, you can't have it back. You gotta love it when a part fights you the entire way off. So let me get the puller off of here and we'll look at this pulley comparisons. It's amazing the difference in size that I was able to go to. I'm very excited. All right, now that I can get them on top of one another, you can really see the difference in size. And I think this is gonna be a night and day difference for me. Okay, I got a rag with a little acetone here to clean up the shaft and we'll see what we got. That's definitely cleaning up nicely. Really nice, actually. You know, I wonder if somebody didn't change this pulley at one point. It almost looks like there's file marks where somebody cleaned up the shaft. That wasn't me. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, so the pulley goes on first. I'm gonna grab a straight edge and we'll just see roughly where it needs to be because that'll help us determine. But the big problem is setting this bushing in the right spot. So once we start pulling it in, it's gonna wanna move. So we'll just get that all lined up. And this just uses 3 bolts through. In fact, I got to line it up for the right one because a few of them are threaded for pushing this bushing or pushing the bushing out, the pulley off, and then so 3 are threaded and 3 are not. The thread into this to pull it down and lock it down. So let me grab a straight edge and we'll check the alignment and see what it looks like. All right, so just laying it up there. I might be close right where I'm at, except, well, it's going to pull the pulley towards the thing, bushing, but that key is not out far enough, so I'm going to have to get that key brought out. I'll probably just change it out to the new one that came with this. All right, so I lied. A new one did not come with, so we'll just pop this one out. We'll just bring it all the way back. There, that'll work. All right, cool. Got my 3 bolts started. Now I'll just get my straight edge in there and try to bump it into where it needs to be. Might be close right there. We might be really close, actually. Before I snug this up, I'm gonna get a belt on there and we'll check the alignment that way and then I'll snug it up. There. All right, I can see it's off. I'm gonna have to tap it in. Looks like I actually got a little further to go than that. I'll loosen these bolts up a little. Actually, I'm going to back one out and use it as a jack, and that'll help get the tension off of the other ones. We'll go on this one. There we go. That's better. One more. There, I think that looks really good for our alignment. Knock this back out and we'll start tightening up those bolts and just see how we did. Let's just take a look here. And I do need to go in a little bit more. I'm looking at the alignment once it's all snugged down and it's a little bit out further than I need it to be. So I'm gonna have, looks like I'm gonna have this groove of the pulley just about up against the motor there. Not a big deal. So we'll loosen that up. I'll move one bolt over to a jacking position and we'll adjust that again. So I could probably, once I loosen this up, tap it right in tight to the motor, and then once I tighten it up, we'll probably be right where we need to be. All right, let's take a look here and see if we can see with the camera what the alignment looks like. Probably not, because we can't get in there good lighting wise, but and I can't get to it. But boy, that sure looks close. I'll get in there, I'll crawl in there and take a peek myself, but by camera it looks pretty good. All right, I crawled under, took a quick peek, and the alignment looks great. We're gonna actually go ahead and just tighten this set screw, and then I'm gonna fire this thing up. And we'll just see how it runs, make sure it doesn't rub, because we are just about touching back here. We had to get it in so far because of this hub and everything. So I'm hoping we're good. We'll give it a test run. Okay, fire in the hole. Well, that looks really good. And just coming over and taking a peek at the driven pulley, that looks a lot slower. We might have her. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and engage the feed and the stroke and just see what we got. Oh, that is way better. That is a vast improvement. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of the belts on, get this adjusted up properly, and then we should be good to go. That was significantly slower, way better than what I had before. And if anybody's wondering about, you know, is that gonna be too slow? I have 3 gears faster to go to. So I can speed it up easily, but I cannot slow it down. So doing this got me a lot slower speed, stroke speed, which was a great improvement. All right, I was really struggling to get this belt on, and I couldn't get it any looser. I had the jack screws adjusted all the way. This one I didn't do, I did the one in the back. I got that one all the way. And what I wound up doing is grabbing one of my railroad track jacks from my days of doing track work, and I lifted that motor up. Now I got plenty of slack. I'll be able to get all those belts on. Beautiful, that looks great. And my jack's out of there. I couldn't be happier with that. Hope you could see past my fat head while I was putting those on, but they are on there. And I don't know if I need to adjust the tensioner screws at all. The weight of that motor is probably enough to hold it. That thing's probably 200-300 pounds. The other belts were definitely stretched, so I think this is gonna cure another one of my issues, was the feed. I was having some feed issues. We can try that out. Okay, so the problem with the feed I was having is I was losing power on my Rapid when I came out. So let's just see if it has power now. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I wouldn't do this before. Excellent. I can't complain about that one bit. That's a huge improvement there. Now, there is problems within the feed box, so that may be a future video. We take the feed box off the machine. And so this whole box right here is the feed box. I know there's some issues within it. A few things that I need to fix, address. You know, it works partially. Maybe part of that, well, actually it wouldn't. The Rapids are what's driven by the belt and the oil pump, so the oil pump's working. The feed itself is driven by this shaft, so there are problems internal. We'll have to get into that. I know I got some bad bearings in there. I've been able to source the bearings, but the problem has been the seals. By the original part numbers, they just don't correspond. So I'll have to take it out and go through it to source the seals. But that'll be a future episode of fixing my junk. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoy seeing this thing move so much slower. I mean, just a vast improvement. And like I said, if I need it faster, I'll pick a higher gear. I've got higher gears. Even the highest gear in fourth gear, doing a 1-inch stroke key, a 1-inch stroke, was too fast. So this is going to be major improvement for me. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching and sticking with me. You know, I think we're going to do more videos like this of fixing my junk, as there's been a lack of work in the shop. So I'll be working on my own stuff, fixing my own stuff. There's a lot of machines that have been kind of neglected over time, and a lot of things that need fixing. You know, like I said, that gearbox is a number one, needs to be taken care of on here. We'll see how ambitious I feel, because that's going to be a big project, but I'm so stoked that this thing is slow now. I mean, I've been hand feeding it for years, so the feed box isn't an issue, but having that stroke slowed down is just, that is a wonderful thing. So thanks for watching and sticking with me, and until next time, get out in your shop and get it done right the first time.